recorded live at 4ZZZ Studios, Meanjin, Brisbane.
On 102.1 FM.
And broadcast across Australia on the Community Radio Network.
You're listening to Zed Games.
Zed Games brings you the best in gaming news, reviews, community and culture. Want to reach out?
Share your hot take?
Or do you just want to share your favourite game?
Find us on socials at ZedGames AU.
Hello. You're listening to Zed Games. My name is Zahra, and with me in the studio this episode is...
Tom.
Hazel.
In the Christmas spirit.
And the Christmas spirit.
And Natalia.
Thank goodness. Yes, it is Christmas Day. If you're listening live, this is actually our last episode of the year, so we've got a little special episode planned. But real quick, how is everyone doing today? Are we all like full of food and like seconds away from falling asleep?
Over caffeinated and ready to
yes.
sprint.
There we go. How about you, Hazel?
I'm full of Christmas cheer. It's bursting out of me.
It truly is.
It's coming out of my eyes.
Oh my god. How about you, Tom?
I have a game of Quacks of Quadelberg waiting for me back after the show.
Quacks of Quadelberg.
Yeah, it's a
I'm
good one.
familiar.
Yeah.
I am not.
It's a good time.
It's a board game about making potions and stuff.
Pushing your luck.
Quacks? Is
Yeah,
it
as in
duck-related?
like quack medicine.
Oh, right.
So many
ducks.
duck-related board games out there.
There's a pretty good shut up and sit down review of it.
Ooh, all right. Well, I guess, Tom, you can tell us about it next year after you, played it.
Do we have to wait that long?
Well,
Next year? Oh.
How do we all feel about, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do we all feel about Christmas music?
If it's Mariah Carey, 1 million out of 10.
1 million out of 10.
If it's anything else, I don't care.
Fair enough. How about you, Natalia?
I love that one mashup of All I Want for Christmas Is You and Soulja Boy, Tell 'Em.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
That's
a good one.
That and eggnog are the two reasons I celebrate Christmas.
I'm also okay with the Green Day... the My Chemical Romance version of All I Want for Christmas Is You.
That one, I do quite like that one. How about you, Tom? How do you feel about Christmas music?
I'm a big fan of Good King Wenceslas. He's... any song with a story is pretty good.
You would say something like that.
Take me on a wintry journey.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm scared to ask.
I do.
Listeners at home will appreciate Good King Wenceslas.
I'm just imagining a rapper named Good King Wenceslas now.
Oh, there's got to be one.
Feel free to text into 0420-626-733 if you know what that's about. You're listening to Zed Games. My name is Zahra, and with me in the studio this episode is Tom, Hazel, and Natalia.
Yep.
And we're about to hop into the week in gaming and news. News.
Jingle.
Can I kick things off?
Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. So, Claire Obscura Expedition 33 has won a lot of awards recently, including awards at the Indie Game Awards, which is hosted by 6-1 Indie. A condition of submitting a game for the Indie Game Awards is that you don't use any Gen AI during development. And Sandfall were like, we promise it's no Gen AI. Guess what? Was in the game. Expedition 33 had 2 of their awards revoked at the Indie Game Awards after they admitted to using Gen AI assets in their game, which is...
Honesty is the best policy.
Honesty is the best policy.
And from memory, I'm pretty sure they replaced them in updates.
I have no idea.
Yeah, there was some of the textures that they used were AI generated, and then they went on in later updates and replaced it, which is nice. But
yeah, I feel like we need sort of layers of disclosures. I think Natalia, you kind of got like a tangentially related story as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's related to Larian's CEO Sven Vinke. Had an interview with Jason Schreier last week, and as part of that, he suggested that the studio who did Divinity Original Sin and Baldur's Gate 3 had been experimenting with Gen AI tools. Although he did say that using AI hasn't led to big gains in efficiency. The studio was still using the technology to, quote, flesh out PowerPoint presentations and develop concept art, which obviously had a massive backlash. Can I swear?
You may, he may.
I get one. In a statement on social media, the CEO said, "Holy fuck, guys. We're not pushing hard for or replacing concept artists with AI. We have a team of 72 artists, of which 23 are concept artists, and we are hiring more. The art they create is original, and I'm very proud of what they do." And they'd recently also acquired a boutique concept art firm, which is, it's this really interesting thing with games that have come out this year. We've seen stuff like Arc Raiders or, what's the other one? The Alters, which like they've had little aspects, not main mechanics or anything like that, but just little glimpses of AI. And unfortunately, I think we're only going to see more of that.
Yeah.
I think the reason we're only seeing a little bit right now is that games take a long time to develop, and AI has only been viable as a tool for the last year or two.
Yeah, it feels like it could be like a bit of a gap filler. When there's like cracks in the wood and you get like some sort of putty thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah.
It's for when you don't want to pay somebody to do that and you don't really care how good it looks, as long as it's good enough.
Yeah.
Back in my day, we just plagiarized.
In my day, we just traced over other art assets.
There was like an issue where Capcom got called out for stealing multiple textures for in their games like Resident Evil 4 and stuff like that, and people were saying, "Hey, this is stolen from my library of like photographs that I've gotten this texture from." And then all that we know is that person got really quiet shortly after, which means that they probably just got slid an amount of money and said sorry.
Well, money
allegedly,
and the problem went away. Allegedly.
I think with the whole thing about AI is that like we're only going to see more of it. I think in this time it's probably safe to extend Larian a little bit of credit given how pro-consumer they have been, I think. I think the main thing that came out of it, which I appreciated, was This Week in Video Games. They're a Sydney-based games outlet. They did a research piece where they spoke to a dozen different concept artists from the industry and asked them how they see the way that AI should be integrated, or if, how it actually affects their process. All of them said it gets in the way, because when you use Gen AI stuff, you're using other people's works and it makes it hard to actually credit who it's for. It muddles, anything that muddles human creativity is not good. But I think especially because there are so many different versions of AI, including, enemy AI is a thing, and that gets muddled up in the term. I think the important thing going forward is talking to the people who actually make the games and seeing what they feel about it, because it's very easy to have a knee-jerk reaction to AI. I think it's, I don't know what the answer is.
No, it is kind of like, it's got to be a conversation, I think. There's a lot of ways where it could help, and there's a lot of ways that it can take away what I think is so special about people, which is our creativity.
100%.
Moving on, Tom.
All right. Just quickly, one Vincent Walter Zampella II was an American video game designer known for being a co-founder of the Call of Duty franchise. Died this past week in a high-speed car crash. He was driving a Ferrari 296 GTS and died after the collision. The man had worked on many games and founded many big franchises. So it's a shocking loss. We don't know much more about the story yet, but just rest in peace, Vincent Zampella.
And everyone out there, drive safe, please. There's so many games to play, so many games to come.
You got to be around for them.
Alrighty, that's it this week in gaming news. No game releases because it's Christmas. Everyone is at home having a lot of food. We're going to hop into a special segment. Each of the crew have volunteered their own game of the year, a game that stuck with us or resonated with us. And to kick things off, we have Caroline here to talk about a game developed by the Australian studio Team Cherry.
Yo, Caroline here. My favorite game this year was Silksong, the most anticipated bug game of the decade. The sequel to Hollow Knight takes place in the brand new region of Farloom and builds upon the lore of its predecessor as you play as Hornet, a character that you met in the first game. It is the premier Bugs Killing Gods franchise and the reason why I feel like I'm in a boss fight when I'm being targeted by a bug. It can be described using the usual nonsense words of Metroidvania, Souls-like, but what truly mattered to me was the butt-clenching fear of exploration and feeling that death was just around the corner at all times. I had been looking forward to this one since it was announced back in 2019. I was a big fan of the Hollow Knight game. It was my gateway drug into the Souls-like games, my first brick wall that got me addicted to beating my head against them. And so getting so much more of the world and lore was just amazing, yes. The best part was playing it at launch when everything was so new, so fresh, the feeling of discovery that you can only get while playing a game for the first time when going in completely blind. The tight gameplay, Hornet controls so well, beautiful art, the animations, the characters, gorgeous sound design, the music, the ambient sound. Definitely the game I've played the most, / the longest this year, 165.2 hours. All in all, a game that I was really looking forward to that lived up to my expectations. What a concept! And there's been a free DLC announced already! Sea of Sorrow coming 2026. It's just so exciting. So exciting. I loved it. Best game. 10 out of 10.
You're listening to Zed Games in the studio. This episode is Natalia, Hazel, and Tom. And we are going through our Game of the Year. Next up, we've got my pick. I'm gonna give you all one guess. You got 3 seconds to make a guess.
I can't. I looked at it.
Was it Sonic Shadow Generations?
No, you're wrong. It is actually a game developed by Wombat Brawler.
Zahra here. My goal this year was simply to play more games, to explore more genres and mechanics, and I've shared that journey across 22 reviews this year. It's been a lot of fun, but it's been tricky trying to nail just one game as my game of the year. Games like White Knuckle, Fresh Tracks, and Isopod all delighted me. But the game I have open while writing this is CastNChill, and that is the game I've chosen as my game of the year. It's no secret that life is hectic, our plate's uncomfortably full, and CastNChill demands absolutely nothing from you, except to boot it up and let your character and dog go fishing. You can manually fish into the game, selecting the right line and lure for your quarry, but the inclusion of an idle mode means that you don't even need to participate to land a catch. So what is the point? I would say the point of CastNChill is the same for 75% of fisher people. To fish. To enjoy the beautiful outdoors, whether it's a lake, river, or otherwise, and to wait patiently. The point isn't necessarily to catch a fish, the point is fishing. The game is gorgeous, beautifully detailed pixel art that is meticulously layered and structured to draw you in. The music is relaxing, easy to listen to, easy to tune out and think your thoughts. And it gives you room to experiment with your gear, unlock and admire new areas to go fishing, and of course, you can fill your journal with your catches. CastNChill by Wombat Brawler, with an emphasis on chill, is my game of the year for 2025.
You're listening to Zed Games. My name is Zahra, and with me in the studio this episode is Natalia, Tom, and Hazel.
Hi.
Christmas.
And we are going through our Game of the Year. Just before, I was talking about CastNChill, which is a game about Wombat Brawler. Next up, we have Paul's, which I was kind of curious to see what he would choose. And I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm sort of pleased.
Positively surprised. Good game.
All right, let's listen to it. Take it away, Paul.
What a year it has been for games. For me, personally, I'm coming to a realization that I can't even come close to having a wide view of releases, as even with playing close to 150 games and over 200 demos this year, I have still barely scratched the surface. It's hard when there's so much interesting work and you want to give everyone a chance to express themselves. And I still haven't played Clair Obscura. I feel other people have talked about it enough anyway, maybe over Christmas. So, in determining what my game of the year would be, I took a simple pragmatic approach. List out all the games. First cull, check the release date. Second, Simply games I didn't like. Next up, games that are quality but didn't capture me. Some would be shocked to hear this is where I lost titles like Silksong and Hades 2. Obviously these are very well made games, but they were known quantities to me. Eventually whittled down to 10. Games like The Drifter, Look Outside, Eclipsium, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Consume Me, Blueprints, Ball Pit, Nubby's Number Factory, Hidden Memories of the Gardens Between, just to name a few. Actually, that was 9. Well, I gotta tell you, even I'm surprised at the game that had the biggest impact on me this year. Baby Steps. Bennett Foddy, Gabe Cuzzillo, and Maxi Boch's follow-up to the rage-bait classic Getting Over It. Making a middle-aged, socially anxious man in his grey onesie stumble up a mountain only to fall down over and over again didn't sound like fun. In fact, I didn't like playing Getting Over It in the first place. I don't like being frustrated. So why Baby Steps? Well, it wasn't a rage game for me. I was kind of surprised people found it frustrating. For me, it was an almost zen-like experience, carefully picking my steps and exploring this strange, surreal world of fragile masculinity and well-endowed donkey men, all to a soundtrack built out of the ambient sounds that get chopped up into musical samples that naturally evolve as you play. That's a vibe I can gel with. And there is plenty of challenge if you want it. It's the stuff people expect, making a misstep and sliding down a mountain face and losing an hour of progress. But most of the time, you can just take a safer route. The game doesn't care. The destination is the same. It's a game that's as insightful as it is incredibly silly. I don't think I'll ever stop finding it funny when my character naturally swears as his foot slips on a little rock. I'm a child. Congratulations, Baby Steps. You are my game of 2025.
You're listening to Zed Games. With me in the studio this episode is Natalia, Hazel, and Tom, and I am Zahra. I'm trying to just keep changing.
You are Zahra.
I am Zahra.
Are you
Today.
sure? Have you checked?
Yes, I have checked. I am Zahra. And next up, we've got Rani's pick for Game of the Year. We were lucky enough to have one of the Witchbeam developers come in to celebrate the release of their latest game, which is Tempopo.
Hi, I'm not Rani, but Rani asked me to convey their Game of the Year, Tempopo, another game by the local team Witchbeam. Tempopo is an adorable puzzle planner game where for each level you'll have a planning phase to strategically place Tempopo in order to rescue and restore your garden of singing plants, and an execution phase where you watch the Tempopo carry out your plan, all in time with the music. It's a very cutesy game and becomes quite complicated as you unlock abilities and come across new hazards, and there are a lot of puzzles to work your way through. Do well and you succeed. Plan poorly, and you'll be sending your adorable Tempopo to their death. But this is one of those puzzle games where I recommend you play with headphones and put yourself in a quiet spot. It's a very melodic game, and as you restore your garden, you create your choir. Each level is layered with sound and rhythm, and seeing your Tempopo bounce around in time with the music makes for a very satisfying experience. It's accessible for young gamers, while still being a challenge for more experienced puzzle solvers, creating Rani's Game of the Year for 2025.
Alrighty, next up in our Game of the Year special, we have a game selected by Peter. It is, a perfect game to play with a pal, a friend, a darling,
A buddy, an amigo,
a gal pal. Just
What about the boys?
Guys being dudes.
Can I play it with my boy?
You can play with your boy. So I'm just
Whatever you do in your free time.
I'm just going to let Peter take it away.
Hello, Zed Gamers. Peter here, speaking to you today from my lofty giant heights, looking back on all the games I played this year. Honestly though, I've realised something. I didn't actually play as many new games as I thought I had. While there were a few I reviewed for the show, I definitely want to change that next year. More games, more variety, more finding fun in new ways. But for this year, the game that really stuck with me all year long was Split Fiction. It may not have walked away with awards at this year's Game Awards, but it's a game I kept coming back to month after month. It's just a really solid, fun, co-op experience with some genuinely great levels. The amount of gameplay variation surprised me in the best way, and everyone I played it with really felt that slight bump in difficulty compared to Hazelight's previous game, It Takes Two. It asked a little more of you without ever becoming frustrating. What really stayed with me though were the shared moments. The small bits of puzzle solving with a co-op partner, the mistimed jumps, the accidental deaths, the quick recoveries, the laughter, and of course, the friendly taunts to do better that always followed. Split Fiction reminded me that games don't always need to be incredibly deep, ultra serious, or hyper competitive to be meaningful. Sometimes the best memories come from just figuring out things together, and occasionally falling off the same ledge at the same time, over and over and over and over. So, my recommendation: grab a friend, grab a loved one, grab a parent, grab an uncle, grab a grandparent, whoever it happens to be. Sit down, put a controller in their hand, and play some Split Fiction together. But all the best from me and my cat Dart. Have a great Christmas, have a great New Year's, and play some games.
You're listening to Zed Games. My name is Zahra, and with me in the studio this episode is Hazel, Tom, and Natalia.
Hey.
And we are going through our Games of the Year, which is, I think, a much better assortment of games than, like, I don't know, the other awards, whatever. After all, they're not on Zed Games, are they?
That's true. No, they're not on community
they don't have the
radio.
prestige.
Nah, they wish they could.
They're all corrupted by commercial influences, not us. Nobody pays us.
Which gives us a perfect segue into Hazel's Game of the Year.
I have played a few new games this year, but the one that left the biggest impact on me was Isopod, a webbed spin-off. It's by Sbug Games, a local developer duo, and is a follow-up to their previous game, Webbed. They've been making a few bug-themed games, and this is the latest installment, although they do have another game out called Worm, which is really good as a party game, and definitely my Christmas recommendation for this year. But back to Isopod. It's a physics-based platformer about being an isopod, a little pill bug or roly-poly bug named Winston, who has to protect his home in the Australian bush from the fire ant conglomerate. It's a game with awesome messages about community, resistance, environmentalism. The movement feels fantastic. It reminds me of a game that I previously reviewed on this show called Exo 1, which is also Australian and also amazing. The movement is just so good for such a cartoony little game. The story just fills my heart every time I touch it, and I just want to close out on this fantastic review I found on the Steam page while I was preparing for this, which is certified Isopod moment. A bit too much of a communism propaganda, but the good game anyway. The vibes of the game from the childhood. And I think that says it all, really.
It really does. Isopod's a great little game. I highly recommend it. It has the cutest weevils on the planet.
You're listening to Zed Games at 4ZZZ.
You're listening to Zed Games on 4ZZZ.
Oi mate, you're listening to Zed Games at 4ZZZ.
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 Got a bit carried away.
You're listening to Zed Games Ripping this year. This episode is Tom, Hazel, Natalia, and we are going through our Game of the Year. Tom, this next one is yours.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah, listen to Past Tom.
Yeah, let's take it away, Past Tom.
He's got some good ideas.
Let's go.
Do you remember when you got your first car? How about that first long road trip you went on? Maybe it was to go see a band or to visit an old friend. It didn't matter. You had all the time in the world and the wide open road. You made mistakes, took risks, met interesting people, but you got by on the open road, coasting along with a newfound sense of freedom. My favourite game of 2025 is Keep Driving by YCJY Games, and it's about that exact feeling. In the game, you've just bought your first car, and your friend invites you to meet them at a music festival, taking place on the other side of the country. So you choose your starting gear, pack your car, and hit the road. As you plot each leg of your journey, you need to consider which road to take, each with their own obstacles along the way, such as tailgaters, potholes, and the like. In a simple but intuitive turn-based RPG, you use the skills that you've learned on your journey to eliminate threats that can take the toll on your resources. Much like in real life, you'll have to manage your car's petrol gauge, make sure it doesn't take too much damage, and that you don't exhaust yourself and fall asleep at the wheel. This costs money too, so you'll be taking on odd jobs along the road, buying supplies, and camping out when you need to. You can also make friends with hitchhikers along the way, each with their own personalities, stories, and destinations. They might help you out of a tight spot when you need them to as well. This game is a vibe. There's enough tactical gameplay and customizing to satisfy those looking to dive deep into the mechanics as you cruise across the country, listening to alternative rock reminiscent of the late 2000s. And there's multiple journeys and endings for you to take too, so replays are encouraged. Keep Driving really surprised and moved me this year. This is a game that manages to make you nostalgic for a memory that isn't yours, but it could be close to one. If you pass on Keep Driving, I think you're really missing out. My game of the year.
You're right, it is a vibe.
Yeah.
You're listening to Zed Games. I'm Zahra, and with me in the studio this episode is Tom, Hazel, Natalia, and we are rapidly making our way through our game of the year. Next up, now you don't get to hear from Tobi very often, but he is still getting behind the scenes. He's our amazing podcast editor, and really loves the Factorio. So I'm going to let Tobi talk about his game of the year.
Rise and shine.
Hey, podcast and audio editor Tobi here. My game of the year, also known as my most enjoyed game of the year, would be Cache Cleaner Simulator. It's basically a sim game where you're stuck in an industrial pit, a large drop vent overhead, with an oversized target on the floor beneath it. As your phone goes off, you're told you need to launder enough money on the dark web to get out. But instead of the dark and dreary world you expect, a neon graffiti and ultraviolet styled world glows from hidden corners. During the game, your play space explodes and expands as the story unfolds, all of which is fun, if simple. But, like my first game review, Shapes.io, this game captured me in organisation loops, hidden variables, collectibles, logistics, and more. Plus, the soundscape of droning belts, flickers of cash being organised, the grumble of the disposal furnace, even the washing machine and dryer lulls you into a very zen experience, with hours slipping by without notice or consequence. So join me and grab your tape, cling wrap and packing knife as you bliss out, kneeling on the gritty, raw concrete floor, lit by the glow of a UV light, sorting through yen, euros and US cash for marked notes, coins, rubbish, bullet casings and more in Cache Cleaner Simulator from Mind Control Games. Oh, and it's actively getting updated.
You're listening to Zed Games. My name is Zahra, and with me in the studio this episode is Tom, Hazel, Natalia. Yippee! And Natalia, you've got a game of the year, don't you?
I do. Yes, my game of the year. There was a lot of really, really good games this year. I think for me, Consume Me and is definitely, and Unbeatable, obviously, which you've heard me yap about endlessly on this show, have been some of my favorite games. But I would be remiss if I did not talk about Expedition 33. Expedition 33 is probably one of the best games ever made, and everyone knows that from all the awards that it's been getting. But for me, I think it represents a game that is a pinnacle of what games could be through storytelling. The game takes place in the world of Lumiere, which is, I'll try and keep it spoiler-free. People are disappearing, and in this small town, fractured in time, a group of adventurers leave every year with the intent of stopping this thing from happening and try and get the world back to normal. Yeah. Now, in the first 2 hours of this game, you walk around this town, you take in this beautiful, like the atmosphere and the art direction is gorgeous, the soundtrack is incredible, you get to talk to these characters who feel like this world feels so loved and passionate and French.
Very.
By the 2 hours, I was crying, and it was the first of many times in this game that it made me cry. I think in terms of performance and writing, it feels at times less like you're playing a video game and more like you're watching a HBO show, a premium television. I think they put so much love and care into the writing. I think especially given that this game was made by mostly amateurs, people who had never made a game before. That's part of the narrative for me of the game. It's a game about making art and what it means to make art, and losing people along the way and having to deal with all these how we grieve through art, I guess. And having a game like that come from such a small, passionate team is really beautiful. I think on the gameplay side, I think I really enjoy the way that it makes RPGs really engaging. I personally have bounced off of a lot of even games like Persona, which have a beautiful art style and they are
super cool.
Cult following. I bounced off of them because after a certain point, it feels less like you're playing a game and more like you're managing a spreadsheet of characters. And the way that this game takes action cues from games like Bloodborne and Dark Souls and all that kind of stuff to do the active parrying mechanics makes it feel much more involved in a way that makes my right brain of like the lizard brain that just wants to hit things.
You're still playing a game, but it also feels like you're watching a movie or a series and you just want to know what happens next.
Yeah, it made me cry, and I think for me it is the reason I am sitting at this desk. It was so moving that it made me want to find a place to talk about it. And I guess it took me a whole year, but we made it.
You know what? I'm really, really glad you came across Expedition 33 if that's the reason that you've ended up on this show.
Well, also, community radio and all that.
Yes, also.
For those who come after.
Who come after. Alrighty, that is the end of the episode for this week, but don't worry, we'll be back next week on, oh my gosh, New Year's Day, so make sure you join us while we kick off the year. Until next time, I hope you all stay safe. I hope that wherever you are full of food and in good company, and of course that you are playing good games. Until next time, take care, and see you later. Bye!
Thanks for listening to Zed Games. If you'd like to listen to more, you can find us on the Community Radio Plus app
or find us on socials at ZedGames AU.
See you next time.